In this chapter, we need to discuss about the Quit India movement, about the underground movement, and the contribution of Indian National Army. We had already gone through the Quit India movement and how this movement has begun. Now, let's take a look on the underground movement. At the end of 1942, the public movement got a new turn. The people, the young leaders, they had started their own way and trying to stop the British government. The leadership of this movement went into the hands of young socialist activists named Jay Prakash Narayan, Dr. Ram Manohar Lohia, Chotubai Puranik, Achyutrao Patwardhan, Aruna Asaf Ali, Yusuf Meher Ali, Suchita Kriplani, S.M. Joshi, Shri Bhau Limay, N.G. Gore, Yashwantrao Chavan, Vasantdada Patil, Maganlal Wagdi, Usha Mehta. Such leaders were in the forefront. Forefront means they had started or they leaded this movement. So these are the famous names you may have heard at different places. There are so many names of you can say a road or any kind of a monument or schools, colleges on these persons. They are the great leaders and they contributed a lot for our national independence. The activists disrupted the transport and communication as well as the government machinery by causing the breakdown of railway routes, cutting of telephone lines, blowing up bridges, etc. So these activists, they are trying to paralyze the government. What do I mean paralyze? Paralyze means to helpless by disrupting the road routes so that the British army can't easily move from one location to another, so that they can't be possibly connect with each other via on the telephone. At that time the telephones are not so much common for the everyone, but the military camps are connected with each other to the telephone lines. So these has been disrupted. Even the bridges that are built on the rivers or any channels, though they had trying to stop the movement of the British soldiers so that they can easily carry out their activity. The impact of the movement was seen all over India. Hemu Kalani in Sindh province. So the person named Hemu Kalani, he tried to destroy the railway along with his companions when he received the news of passing of a railway carrying British troops and supplies. Supplies means you can say the weapons. So when this activist came to know about the British movement to any particular place, so Himu Kalani in Sindh province, he tried to destroy the railway route so that they can try to create a hurdle in the movement. The court punished him to the hang to death, and he was sentenced to death. And in this way, he sacrificed his life for the nation. There are so many people who created their own groups or troops, or you can say a small kind of army with the people, with the locals, or even the companions they joined to them. Like we have the name Bhai Kotwal. He founded a group named Azad Dasta in Karjat, taluka of modern day Raigad district, as we all know, Karjat. General Awari's Lal Sena in Nagpur. Such groups made the government helpless and witless for months. So in this way, they tried to create disruptions in the functions of government so that we can actively participate in our movement. In Mumbai, Vittal Zaveri, Usha Mehta and her companions established a secret transmission center named Azad Radio. As we all know, at that time we don't have much option of communication like today we have the option of social media from where we can connect to the lakhs of people at same time, maybe the WhatsApp, the Twitter, you can say the Facebook. But at that time the only the way of connection is the newspaper or any kind of writings. So the people are trying to write the books or they try to write the articles in the newspaper to spread the awareness among the people regarding the freedom struggle. But many times it can't be possible to reach to a mass number of people. So in this way, as the technology has been developed and since Britishers are using such technology, so many people also from the Indians, they had adopted such kind of technology. And certain we can find this example of the Azad radio that are run by the activists like Usha Mehta and other companions in a very secretly, so that British won't able to know about such kind of broadcast happening, right? So they are trying to motivate the people, the common people, through the medium of radio by broadcasting the patriotic songs, or you can say any speeches of great leaders, or any kind of information regarding the cruelty of Britishers, so that people can get aggressive and they should join the freedom struggles movement. Patriotic songs were sung on it, news of agitations in the country were broadcasted on it, patriotic speeches were telecasted. This gave encouragement to the agitators. Such transmission centers opened at Kolkata, Delhi, and Pune for some period of time. So different locations, at different locations, such kind of secret transmission centers has been established. Establishment of parallel government. What is a parallel government? As we already heard the word parallel in our geometry, right? When we say the parallel lines, so the two lines which are adjoining to each other but they don't connect, or they don't intersect each other, right? So in the same way, how you see in the railway tracks, right? The tracks are parallel to each other, they go side by side but they can't intersect. So in this way, since already Britishers had their government in our country, so the people at different places, they try to set up our own government, because it's our own nation. We know the problem of our own citizens, so we will able to solve that problem and we will fulfill the requirement. And moreover, Britishers are just for namesake they had formed the government, but they treating us like a slave. So in this way, to raise our voice against the British government and to show our agitation, our power struggle, a parallel government system has been started at many places, and it also gives support to the common people, and most of the people also get inspired to it and they joined such kind of movement. At some places in the country, British officers were driven out. Driven out means they are removed from that place, or for example, you can say any kind of office or municipal corporation or any kinds of government buildings. So from there, Britishers has been thrown out, and Indians captured that. You can say any kind of government offices, or any kind of government telephone exchange, or even at the different centers like the courts, or so many things where it is possible. These are British officers were driven out and the people's government was established. These are called as the parallel government. Parallel government were formed in districts of Midnapur in Bengal, Balia and Azamgarh in Uttar Pradesh, and Purnia in Bihar. So at the time, at so many places, this parallel government has been formed. These are the important locations where we had seen the parallel government. In Satara district of Maharashtra in 1942, Kranti Singh Nana Patil brought an end to the government and established a parallel government. So we had an example of Kranti Singh Nana Patil. He removed the British power in Satara district in year 1942 and made their own Indian government. At Kundal, under the leadership of Krantigreni GD alias Bapu Lad, Tufan Sena was established. This word alias, basically when we use this word alias is a kind of designation when we use to represent the people if they are known by other name also. Like for example, any one of your friend named Rajesh, right? But he is very much commonly called as Raju. So it is other another name. So many times we use it alias. Okay, ALIS. Alias means by other name. So Krantigirini, as we all know, Krantigirini is a kind of title given. So Krantigirini GD alias Bapu Lad. Tufan Sena was established through its medium collection of taxes, maintenance of law and order, punishment to criminals. Such work was done by the parallel government. So these places where we had set up the parallel government, we are trying to maintain a stability and improvement, or you can say a kind of help to the people, those who are residing to that locations, by creating them the opportunity for job or reducing the tax burden, and even to punish only the criminals, not to the innocent people. people started accepting the verdict passed by the people's court appointed by the parallel government. What a verdict? Verdict means you have a decision. Since the decisions are done in a fair way and common people or innocent people are not harmed to that, so people started to accept the verdicts from the people court that are set up by the parallel government. Opposition to money lenders. As we all know, there are so many money lenders who are worked under the control of Britishers. They are trying to they are just looted the common people, right, in the name of help. So they had started the movement against the money lenders. Prohibition of liquor, it is very much important. What is liquor? Liquor means alcohol, right? To stop alcohol, there are so many movements are started in the past also. Even nowadays also in our country, most of the states or few states are still banned the sale of alcohol. So prohibition on liquor, spread of literacy, opposition to caste distinction, many such constructive work was done by this government. Due to it, the parallel government became a source of inspiration for the people. So in this way, due to the good work or due to the support, parallel government became the source of inspiration to the common people. Next, importance of Quit India movement. What is the importance of Quit India movement? In 1942, movement took up the form of a nationwide agitation. So not in a single place, all over the country, people are very much aggressive and they had started to act actively. To fulfill the objectives of gaining independence, lakhs of Indians made unlimited sacrifices. Many sacrificed their lives. The number of people participating in the struggle was so huge that even all the prisons in the whole of the country were not enough to contain them. So you can imagine the number of people participating in such kind of movement. Then even if all the people are captured or they sent to the jail, there are no space to keep them under the prison. So imagine this created a massive struggle. So this kind of movement also creates awareness among the people to fight for the justice, to fight for the rights, or to fight for the nation. The patriotic songs composed by Sane Guruji. So these are the different these are the different planning, or you can say a different kind of concept that needs to be propagated to the people by different means. Maybe it's a song, literature, books, newspaper. The patriotic songs composed by Sane Guruji, Rashtriya Sant Tukoji Maharaj and other increase the enthusiasm of the agitators. Even if we also, when we see any patriotic, when we listen any patriotic songs or when we see any patriotic movie, it creates a certain kinds of feeling for the nation or for the people in our own hearts, right? You may have observed it during the time of Republic Day or the Independence Day, where we used to listen these songs at many places, even in our schools, colleges, or at the nearby complexes. We had the different programs that shows our national integrity. So in this way, it creates a kind of sense in us. So at that time, these things proved very much important. This nationwide movement is also known as Agast Kranti. So the Quit India movement that started in the year 1942 is also named as Agast Kranti. Indian National Army. So we are done with the underground movement and the Quit India movement. Now, Indian National Army, in Hindi it is called as Azad Hind Sena. As we all know, this you can say this group or troop was established by Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. It's a kind of army that fights against the British government, and it also gets so much success during that time. Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose took phenomenal efforts for gaining independence of India. Right? On the eastern borders of India, thousands of Indians stood in readiness to fight against the British. So we had seen Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose has done a lot for our freedom struggle, and he motivated so many Indian soldiers, those who are in the British army, to support for the nation's freedom struggle or to support the Indian. So in this way they also ready to fight against the British army, and many people or many soldiers that resided on the borders, they are ready to fight with the British troops. All these soldiers belongs to Azad Hind Sena, and they all belongs to Azad Hind Sena. How the Azad Hind Sena formed and what is the background, we will come to know. Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose was their leader. Subhash Chandra Bose was an important leader of Indian National Congress. As we all know, at that time we had a very important political party that tries to bring the different people from the different community under one roof. So even the important leaders like Jawaharlal Nehru, Mahatma Gandhi, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose played a very role to make these Indian National Congress strong. But due to certain kind of feelings or the decisions, or there are some differences, Subhash Chandra Bose left the Indian National Congress. Subhash Chandra Bose was an important leader of Indian National Congress. He graced the position of President of Congress twice. Even he became the President of Indian National Congress not only once but twice. As per his opinion, while England was engaged in Second World War, the Indians should take advantage of it and make the movement more intense, more strong. Uh, his feeling was right, his suggestions were right, since Britishers were feeling certain kind of lack, or they are at the weak at that time. So it's an opportunity for us to give them a setback. If necessary, India should seek the help of enemies of England. So Subhash Chandra Bose suggested that since Britishers are engaged in war, and since the Europeans had started the war, so there are so many countries against the Britishers, like we had seen Germany, Italy. So Subhash Chandra Bose said that we should take the help of the enemies of England, because it is a tendency that feeling arises against the enemies, right? So for example, if England is the enemy of India and Germany or Japan is also the enemy of England, then we can approach Germany and Germany and Japan to fight against the England. So in this way, this thought of the Subhash Chandra Bose trying to convince the people of India or the leaders of the Indian National Congress. If necessary, India should seek the help. Seek means that take the help of enemies of England, but there aroused difference of opinion between him and other senior leader. So such kind of differences arises between the leaders of Congress and Subhash Chandra Bose. As a result, Subhash Chandra Bose resigned from the president or from the president post. To place his views in front of people, he founded a party known as Forward Bloc. But as we all know, Subhash Chandra Bose was always trying to free the nation, and he wants to pass his message, motivation to the people. For that, he founded a separate party called Forward Bloc. Through his speeches, Subhash Chandra Bose appealed to the Indians to revolt against the British rule. Due to it, the government imprisoned him. Since he was giving speeches against the Britishers, or he was trying to motivate the Indians against the Britishers to stop him, Britishers imprisoned him. Subhash Chandra Bose went on fast unto death in the prison, due to which the British government interned him in his residence. What do we interned? Interned means, you can say, a house arrest. Since when he was in jail, in prison, so he started the fasting. And since he got support from the other prisoners or the people, so Britishers released him from the jail, but they kept him at his home under house arrest. In house arrest, you are not allowed to move out to meet anyone, or no one allowed to meet or come to your home. So in this way, they had kept an eye on Subhash Chandra Bose in his own house. From this, he escaped in disguise, but Subhash Chandra Bose left from there. If you have heard the story of Subhash Chandra Bose, he was a very smart and talented person, and even he tried to get a new get-up or look. Even if you see, if you've seen so many movies are made on the life of Subhash Chandra Bose, if you get time, must watch it. Then you will know the struggle what he faced at that time. So but giving a great thought, and by his own tactics he left it from his own house, and Britishers were not aware when he left and how he left from there. From there, he escaped in disguise. In April 1941, he reached Germany. As we know, at that time, England was fighting with Germany to meet with Hitler. Subhash Chandra Bose went to Germany and asked the help. In April 1941, he reached Germany. There, he founded the Free India Center from the Berlin radio. As we all know, Berlin is an important city in Germany. So from the Berlin radio station in Germany, he appealed to the Indian people to join in an armed struggle. So from there also, he not stopped his freedom struggle, and he trying to motivate or trying to propagate his message with the Indians. During this period, Ras Bihari Bose invited Subhash Chandra Bose to Japan. So we will in next chapter, in 10th chapter, we will learn in detail how Rasbihari Bose went to Japan. Remember the name Rasbihari Bose and what happened and why he went to Japan. We will discuss in next chapter in a detailed manner. So just for now, just consider that Rasbihari Bose was already in Japan. So Rasbihari Bose asked Subhash Chandra Bose to come to Japan because already Rasbihari Bose has established a kind of army or a kind of support in Japan. So he wants Subhash Chandra Bose to support him to make this movement more stronger, because at that time Japan was also against the England. Formation of Indian National Army. How this Indian National Army has been formed. Rasbihari Bose was staying in Japan since 1915. Just remember it. We will discuss it in later. He had organized the Indian patriots living in countries of Southeast Asia and established the organization named Indian Independence League. So already when he was in Japan, he tried to gather or to try to take the support of the people from Southeast Asian region, and he already established a movement or group called Indian Independence League. What are patriots? Patriots means nationalistic people, those who have love for the nation, those who are ready to sacrifice for their nation, right? In Hindi we call it Deshbhakt. That is the patriot. In the early part of 1942, Japan conquered the territories of Southeast Asia which were controlled by the Britishers. So in the early period of 1942, there are so many territories which were under the control of Britishers. They are gained by the Japan. Thousands of Indian soldiers and officers in British Army there fell into the hands of Japan. Since Japan had a different war with the Britishers, at many instances they had captured so many British soldiers. But these British soldiers are actually Indian, those who are working for the British Army. Rasbihari Bose, with the help of Captain Mohan Singh, formed a battalion. Battalion means troop, a group of these Indian prisoners of war. Basically, when any soldiers in war, they are surrendered or they are captured, they are called as prisoners of war. They are not criminals, right? It was named as Indian National Army. What Rasbihari Bose did, he approached to the Japanese government and asked for the help, and they tried to turn this soldier into a battalion and formed a Indian National Army. In Hindi it is called as Azad Hind Sena. Later Subhash Chandra Bose led the Indian National Army, and in the beginning too many successes has been done by the Indian National Army. In October 1943, Netaji established Azad Hind government in Singapore. Shah Nawaz Khan, Jagannath Bhosle, Dr. Lakshmi Swaminathan, Gurubaksh Singh Dillon, Prem Kumar Sehgal, etc. were his chief associates, companions, team members. Captain Lakshmi Swaminathan was the commander of Rani of Jhansi regiment. Basically, when you see regiment or cantonment, these are the different army group or troops, or you can say the army's location. Netaji appealed to the people you give me blood and I will give you independence. He gave a very powerful speech. Even today, people remember his word that give me blood and I will give you independence. It means don't fear for your life. Fight for the nation, fight against the enemy of our country, and you will succeed and you will get independence. So it was very much clear thought that has represented by Subhash Chandra Bose. Next, achievements of Indian National Army. What are the achievements of Indian National Army? In November 1943, Japan conquered Andaman and Nicobar Islands and handed them over to the Azad Hind government. So as we all know, Andaman and Nicobar were under the control of Britishers. So in 1943, Japan conquered these two islands and handed over to Subhash Chandra Bose. And Subhash Chandra Bose renamed them as Shaheed and Swaraj. Andaman and Nicobar named as Shaheed and Swaraj. We know what is Shaheed means, the martyrs, right? Those who sacrificed their life, they are called as Shaheed. And Swaraj means independence, freedom. Respectively, in 1944, Indian National Army captured the Arakan province in Myanmar. So this territory was also under the control of Britishers. So Indian National Army conquered that part. Posts on the eastern border of Assam were captured. In the same period, the campaign of Imphal remained incomplete because Japan stopped help the Indian National Army. We are also trying to capture different locations in northeast also, but at that time, since Japan not able to support India because they are also facing the problem of war with the England, and mob countries like America are also against the Japan. But in adverse circumstances, what are adverse? You can say worst circumstances and situation. Even at the worst situation, Indian National Army fight for the nation. But in adverse circumstances, soldiers of Indian National Army were dedicatedly fighting. But in the same period, Japan accepted defeat. On 8th August 1945, Subhash Chandra Bose died in a plane accident. As we all know, when America threw nuclear bombs on Japan, Japan need to surrender. And since Japan became weak, we lost our important companion. And unfortunately, the death of Subhash Chandra Bose resulted a big loss for the nation and even for the Indian National Army. On 18th August 1945, Subhash Chandra Bose died in a plane accident. On this background, the soldiers of Indian National Army had to down their arms. To lay down their arms means surrender. They surrendered in front of the British government. Thus ended the thrilling phase of the Indian National Army. In this way, we had seen a big journey, big success of the Indian National Army that has been stopped. Later, the British government charged the officers of Indian National Army with treason. What is treason? Treason means a kind of allegations put on someone when they are against any kind of government or the system. Since they are acted against the Britishers, they are not the terrorists or they are not the criminal. So people also started to support them. A mass number of people has raised their voice against the injustice of the British. Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, Bhullabhai Desai, Tej Bahadur Sapre, these expert lawyers defended them. Defended means supported them against the charges that were put on them, because they are the soldiers, they are fighting for the nation, right? But the military tribunal held the officers guilty and they were sentenced to life imprisonment. Military tribunal is military court, and they had sent for the life imprisonment. Therefore, there was severe unrest against the British government in the minds of Indian people. So people are not happy with the decision that government has declared for these soldiers. Finally, the British government has to suspend the punishments given by the military tribunal. And seeing the support, seeing the agitation, Britishers needs to cancel the decision that was taken by the military tribunal, military court. Since Indian National Army shown a great respect for the nation and they fight for the nation, it was truly inspirational. In this way, Indian Navy and Indian Army also Indian Navy and Indian Air Force also started their agitations against the British government. As we all know, there are so many soldiers and officers, Indian soldiers and officers are working for the British Army, whether in Navy and Air Force also. Okay, so we had seen the revolts had started in by the Indian soldiers in Indian Britishers Navy and Air Force. The Navy and Air Force soldiers, with the inspiration from Indian National Army, caused discontent against the British government. They are also shown their anger against the British government. It burst out on the British warship, and we have seen an example that has been came to know that a British warship named Talwar in the near the Mumbai coast. In Mumbai on 18 February 1946, the soldiers unfurled the tricolor flag on the British warship. A British warship known as Talwar, where the Indian soldier unfurled the flag of India, that's a tricolor. They raised slogans against the British government. The British government sent army to open fire on the naval soldiers. The rebels also made counter-attack with firing. The workers and common people extended their support to the naval soldiers. Finally, with the mediation of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, the naval soldiers laid down their arms. So, since there was a tension created between the Britishers and the Indian soldiers, so there are the exchange of a kind of fight with them. But Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel tried to mediate. Mediate means a person when trying to solve the issue by talking to the two different parties and convince them on any certain point. So, and in this way, the Indian soldiers laid down their arm and they surrendered themselves. In the same way, we had seen the support from the Air Force also. To support the uprising of naval soldiers, the Air Force officers from Delhi, Lahore, Karachi, Ambala, these are the important locations, right? Meerut went on strike. These revolts were a clear indication that the sentiments of discontent against the ruler had reached a climax. What the climax? End. In this way, the period between 1942 to 1946 shook the foundation of the British power in India. So in this way, we had fight against the British government, and the British system has been completely collapsed, and they had been shooked by the Indians. Through the Quit India movement, the severe discontent of Indian people against the British was expressed. Army, Navy and Air Force was the backbone of British power, and there they had seen the agitation, there they had seen the angerness among the soldiers. They were also now opposing the British. Due to this incident, the British ruler realized that they will not be able to empower India for a long period of time. So seeing this situation, seeing this incident, Britishers thought that now it's high time. It's not possible to them for stay longer in India and to maintain their power. So in this way, we have shown our strength to the British government. Let's take the look on the exercise. Interesting chapter, right? Dash was the first satyagrahi of individual satyagraha. Who was the first satyagrahi? Yes, Acharya Vinoba Bhave. The nationwide movement of 1942 is also called as Agast Kranti. In November 1943, Japan conquered Dash Islands and handed them over to Azad Hind Sena, the islands of Andaman and Nicobar, and they are named as Shaheed and Swaraj by Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. Explain the following statement with reason. In November 1933, provincial ministers of Indian National Congress gave their resignation. Why Indian National Congress provincial leaders gave the resignation? Because the Britishers trying to convince them that Indians should support British against the Japan, the war they started in the name of democracy. But at that time, we simply said when it's a reason for the democracy, then why we are not getting the independence? But Britishers refused to give us the independence, and that's why we had, or our leaders doesn't give any kind of support to the Britishers. The Indian National Army had to lay down, and as we have seen, since Japan surrendered, we didn't get much support from other countries also, and unfortunately Subhash Chandra Bose died in a plane accident. So Indian National Army had to surrender against the Britishers. The parallel government became a source of inspiration to the people. Yes, it is a source of inspiration to the people because the parallel government had done a so much important work for the common people, like reduction of taxes or prohibition of alcohol, spread of education, release of political leaders from the political prisoners, or even at that time they had against the money lenders, and also they trying to give proper or impartial decision to the common people. So in this way the common people also feel connected with the parallel government. Next, complete the following table. Forward Bloc. Who was the founder of Forward Bloc? Yes, Subhash Chandra Bose. When he left the Indian National Congress, he started a political party called Forward Bloc to spread his message to the common people. Indian Independence League. Who founded the Indian Independence League? Remember? Raj Bihari Bose. Tufan Sena. Who had founded Tufan Sena? Bapu Lal. Okay? Good. So answer the following question in brief. How do you find the contribution of Shirish Kumar to be inspirational? Remember Shirish Kumar? A school children going for the protest in Nandurbar, right? So Shirish Kumar, among the other students, they had started to protest against the British government in a very non-violent way. Even they had just carried the Indian flag in their hands, and they started to slogans of our the Vande Mataram and any other motivation things to create awareness among the people. So such kind of activity, they proved that people should join the freedom struggle, and even they sacrificed their life. So it is a really inspirational thing. Why did the British Prime Minister send Sir Stafford Cripps to India? The British Prime Minister sent Sir Stafford Cripps to India to get the support from the Indians when they have a danger of the Japan attack at the eastern borders, right? And they trying to convince the Indians that they should support the Britishers in this war. What kind of reaction was seen during the spread of news of arrest of main leaders of the Indian National Congress? Due to the news of the arrest of the main leaders of Indian National Congress created a kind of agitation among the people. A nationwide mass movement or agitation has been started at many places, and people started the satyagraha against the British government. Okay, understood? Clear? The chapter is very much interesting. So in the coming chapters we will learn about the different topics about the armed struggle also. Till now we had seen the struggle that is done by the Indians. We didn't had any kind of armed struggle, but in further chapter, in next chapter, we will learn about the armed struggle and how this movement or this phase proved to be important for our freedom struggle. Okay, understood? So please go through this video and read the chapter at least twice, and any doubt, any confusion, just mark it. So thank you so much everyone. Please go through the topic. Thank you.